Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Okay, hold on. Hold on a second.
Ooh, and I'll share it too. I say like that's some sort of revelation. Two viewers.
Wow,
I
hello,
mean, of
everyone.
course.
Wow. Oh, my goodness, we haven't
Oh,
even shared the stream yet.
no.
You've caught us off guard.
They must have found us with our gamer
Our
tag.
gamer tag. Well, welcome, everyone. Just a moment.
Welcome.
We have to
Welcome.
get the rest of the ribble rabble in here.
Yes. I don't know how you can chat, but I think that you can.
I believe you can as well.
Okay. I don't use Twitch too much.
All right, everyone, I've now shared it. So now I can devote my full attention.
And
Hello, everyone. I hope
yes, hello.
our volume is suitable. I hope our video is suitable. If it is not, please tell me. I will attempt to fix it.
Yes.
We are now coming to you with the first episode of the Goosing Hour.
You didn't copy it as a link.
Well,
that'll be okay. They'll figure it out. Anyways, welcome to the good evening, Threatened Bee. Thank you for joining us,
yes,
Threatened
an
Bee.
old friend.
Yes. Good evening. We are so excited to be here to share our vast collection of knowledge that we have collected. Yes.
So happy you're back. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, let's begin, shall we? We are coming to you live from the offices.
The Goosening Hour offices.
The Goosening Hour offices. As you can see, we've come prepared for our evening of Say Cheese and Die.
The Goose office. Yes.
And with that, we have brought a cheese platter.
Yes. We
Feel
wanted to
free
keep
to grab your own cheese and eat along.
Of course. There's also a side of oyster crackers as well.
Yes.
That we're also eating.
Now, without further ado, let's get into our book of the evening.
That's a great idea.
Say Cheese and Die.
Now, if you'll remember this book from when you were a kid, if you were alive when these books first came out, you will remember that the cover is a little different now.
Yes, here I will bring this closer.
So
if you recall, as children, you might remember perhaps here a big tree, and perhaps here two skeletons, and perhaps down here a picnic table with a checkered board cloth and a title, Say Cheese and Die.
Yes. So I was able to, our archive was able to locate an original copy of the book. So there you go. You'll probably remember that. You've probably seen it. They alter it.
I agree that this does seem a bit blasphemous. However, we must embrace truth.
That's fun.
And
yes, embrace Goose.
Embrace Goose. The Goose embraces all that's new. So without further ado, who would you like to read the first chapter? Our solo viewer, Threatened Bee?
Wow.
My fellow co-host or myself?
Oh.
Excellent decision.
Excellent decision.
We open it up. Say cheese and die. Excellent.
I'll be reacting, but I'll share the link. I'm so sorry.
There's nothing to do in Pitt's Landing, Michael Warner said, his hands shoved into the pockets of his faded denim cutoffs. Very classy, very in now.
He sounds really cool.
He sounds hot. I would agree.
He does, yeah.
Yeah. Pitt's Landing is the pits, Greg Banks said. Doug Arthur and Sherry Walker muttered their agreement. Pitt's Landing is the pits. That was the town slogan, according to Greg and his 3 friends. Actually, Pitt's Landing wasn't much different from a lot of small towns, with quiet streets of shady lawns and comfortable old houses. Yes, and you might recall such places such as, Oshkosh.
Wow. Or West Bend.
West Bend. Yeah. Gatlinburg, Tennessee. That sort of thing. But here it was, a balmy fall afternoon, and the 4 friends were hanging. A balmy, falmy afternoon, and the 4 friends were hanging around Greg's driveway, kicking at the gravel, wondering what to do for fun and excitement. Let's go to Grover's and see if the new comic books have come in, Doug suggested. But we don't have any money, Bird, Greg told him. Everyone called Doug Bird because he looked a lot like a bird. That is some solid reasoning.
Wow.
A better nickname might have been Goose.
And they say kids are
Just
stupid.
Just kidding, it was Stork.
Oh, Stork. That's funny.
He had long, skinny legs and took long, stork-like steps. Under his thick tuft of brown hair, which he seldom brushed, he had small, bird-like brown eyes and a long nose that curved like a beak. Beautiful. Doug didn't really like to be called Bird, but he was used to it. Yeah, Broke Bird. And did you know Broke is actually an anagram of stork? So I think maybe that is what Mr. Stein was going for.
That's true.
We can still look at the comics, Bird insisted. Until Grover starts yelling at you, Sherry said.
True.
She puffed out her cheeks and did a pretty good imitation of the gruff store owner. Are you paying or staying?
Wow.
He thinks he's cool, Greg said, laughing at her imitation. He's such a jerk. So at this point in time, we'd like to ask our viewers, who is your favorite so far? We have Doug, otherwise known as Bird. We have Sherry, otherwise known as the girl. And we have Michael, otherwise known as the founder of the phrase, Pitts is the Pits. Bird, all right.
Bird, all right, good choice. Good choice.
Excellent choice. Now we can move forward. I think the new X-Force is coming in this week, Bird said. You should join the X-Force, Greg said, giving his pal a playful shove. Wow. You could be Birdman. You'd do great. We should all join the X-Force, Michael said. If we were superheroes, maybe we'd have something to do. I suppose. Well, what can I say? Our technology is only 20 years old, so
that's true.
What can I say? We'll link to our Patreon that we'll create one day. Oh,
that'd be cool.
Yeah. No, we wouldn't, Sherry quickly replied. There's no crime to fight in Pitt's Landing. We could fight Crabgrass, Bird suggested. He was the joker in the group.
Bird is so funny.
Yeah, Bird's kind of an idiot, I guess. I feel bad for him. The others laughed. The 4 of them had been friends for a long time. Greg and Sherry lived next door to each other, and their parents were best friends. Bird and Michael lived on the next block. Bird and Michael lived on the next block. How about a baseball game? Michael suggested. We could go down to the playground. No way, Sherry said. You can't play with only 4 people. Untrue. I did used to play baseball with my sister and my father in my backyard. He would hit the ball and we would run and go get it. And it was very fun.
This cheese is good.
It's fine. Ryan selected a delicious pepper jack cheese. That's pretty. Hey, like you should have a podcast. Well, what can I say?
Wow. We're getting heckled.
Yeah, I don't know. These people don't understand fine art of storytelling. She pushed back a strand of her crimped black hair that had fallen over her face. She was wearing an oversized yellow sweatshirt over bright green leggings.
Wow.
It's a beautiful visual. Huh.
Can you...
Yeah, we'll go over that again. So black crimped hair.
Okay.
Oversized yellow sweatshirt. Bright green leggings.
And this is set.
Fit check.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
yes. Okay.
Good for her.
Maybe we'll find some other kids there, Michael said, picking up a handful of gravel from the drive and letting it sift through his chubby fingers. A little bit of fat phobia.
Yeah, I don't know
that's
about
all right.
that, Mr. Stein.
Michael had short red hair, blue eyes, and a face full of freckles. Proper Irish boy.
Mm.
He wasn't exactly fat, but no one would ever call him skinny. Well, same, Michael. Come on, let's play baseball, Bird urged. I need the practice. My Little League starts in a couple of days.
Damn, that's soon.
Wow. Little League? In the fall? Sherry asked. It's a new fall league. The first game is Tuesday after school, Bird explained. I do feel like fall is the typical time baseball is played.
Baseball? It's fall. What are you playing baseball for? Go carve pumpkins.
Yeah, they should be playing pumpkin ball.
Pumpkin
Hey,
ball.
we'll come watch you, Greg said.
Little late to start practicing. They should have started a lot earlier.
We'll come watch you strike out, Sherry added. Her hobby was teasing Bird. Sounds like all their hobby is kind of teasing Bird. But that's okay. I guess it's just Sherry's. What position are you playing, Greg asked. Backstop, Michael cracked.
Yeah, I don't like their odds right now.
No one laughed. Michael's jokes always fell flat.
Wow.
Still relatable, but that's okay. That's fine.
They're all me.
They're all me. I kind of am feeling a little bit of each of them myself.
Yeah.
Bird shrugged. Probably the outfield. How come you're not playing, Greg? With his big shoulders and muscular arms and legs and tight little ass, Greg was the natural athlete of the group.
Wow.
He was blonde and good-looking with
talking
flashing...
about an 8-year-old? Sorry, go on. He had a flash of blonde
He was the
hair.
natural athlete. He had blonde and good-looking with flashing gray green eyes and a wide,
flashing
friendly
gray
smile.
hair. Wow.
My brother Terry was supposed to go sign me up, but he forgot.
World building.
Greg said, making a disgusted face. Where is Terry? Sherry asked. She had a tiny crush on Greg's older brother. Well, I get it. I've read Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I know the allure. The Rodricks of the world. He got a job Saturdays and after school at the Dairy Freeze, Greg told her.
Wow.
Let's go to the Dairy Freeze, Michael exclaimed enthusiastically. We don't have any money, remember? Bird said glumly. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. We don't have any money, remember? Bird said glumly. Terry will give us free cones, Michael said, turning a hopeful gaze on Greg.
What is a Dairy Freeze?
It's kind of giving like
like a Dairy Queen, maybe?
Yeah.
But it's...
I'm picturing a place where the bathrooms are like on the outside, like the beach.
Oh,
like when you go to the beach, you have to use those. Like it's one of those. It's like a shack.
Cow restaurant at Bradford.
It's only open in summer and early fall. That's kind of what I'm picturing there.
I agree.
Good question.
That's
Thank
a great
you.
question.
Threaten B. Thank you. Yeah, free cones, but no ice cream in them, Greg told him. Wow. You know what a straight arrow my brother is. This is boring, Sherry complained, watching a robin hop across the sidewalk.
Wow.
I don't know, I kind of like that.
Yeah, I don't
Sherry,
know.
please.
Yeah. Wow.
It's boring standing around talking about how bored we are.
This is the camera one? Sorry, go on.
We could sit down and talk about how bored we are, Bird suggested, twisting his mouth into the goofy half smile he always wore when he was making a dumb joke.
Oh, I know that one. Yeah.
Let's take a walk or a jog or something, Sherry insisted. She made her way across the lawn and began walking, balancing her white high tops. Okay, so we've got more. Black crimped hair, bright yellow oversized sweatshirt, bright green leggings, white high tops.
Wow.
That's good. All right.
Oh, she's got a neon blue purse.
That'd be pretty.
I'm saying that sincerely.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. And that was our little fashion segment of the Goosing Hour. The boys followed, imitating her in an impromptu game of Follow the Leader.
Reminds me of It Follows, another horror staple.
Another horror staple set in the world of R.L. Stine. All of them balancing on the curb edge as they walked. A curious Cocker Spaniel.
Golly.
Okay. A curious Cocker Spaniel came bursting out of the neighbor's hedge, yapping excitedly.
Wow.
Sherry stopped to pet him. The dog, its stub of a tail wagging furiously, licked her hand a few times. Then the dog lost interest and disappeared back into the hedge. The four friends continued down the block, playfully trying to knock each other off the curb as they walked. They crossed the street and continued on past the school. A couple of guys were shooting baskets, and some little kids played kickball on the practice baseball diamond, but no one they knew. The road curved away from that school. Well, see, they said it was a really small town, but they also don't know everyone in it, which is surprising to me.
Maybe they just moved here.
Well.
Was there a foreword?
Yeah, actually. It says Night of the Living Dummy 2, Night of the Living Dummy 3. Please don't feed the vampire. Okay. The road curved away from the school. They followed it past familiar houses. 2
viewers. Welcome, new viewer.
You're just in time. We haven't even gotten to the good part.
No.
The road curved away from the school. They followed it past familiar houses. Then, just beyond a small wooded area, they stopped and looked up a sloping lawn. The grass, uncut for weeks. Tall weeds.
This house belongs to a haunted camera, I heard. Sorry,
the shrubs ragged and overgrown. Oh yeah, that's Haunted Camera House.
Why was I not good enough? No. We were really excited when you came in, too.
You don't even understand. Don't you remember when we said, oh my God, we already have 2 viewers? Yeah. You remember that?
We're 3 viewers?
Whoa!
Wow.
All right.
Okay. Sorry, everyone. We're excited about all of you.
At the top of the lawn, nearly hidden in the shadows of enormous old oak trees, sprawled a large ramshackle house.
Bird interrupted. These look more like birch trees to me rather than oak.
Sherry said, that's not funny, Bird. The house, anyone could see, had once been grand. It was gray shingled, 3 stories tall with a wraparound screen porch, a sloping red roof, and tall chimneys on either end. But the broken windows on the 2nd floor, the cracked weather-stained shingles, the bare spots on the roof, and the shutters hanging loosely beside the dust-smeared windows were evidence of the house's neglect. Well, Threaten B, you're the only viewer again.
Wow, they hated it. They hated us. It was me. Okay, I won't talk next time someone comes in for at least 10 minutes. That house should be $1 million.
No, that's funny. That's good. Okay. Everyone in Pitt's Landing knew it as the Haunted Camera House. No, knew it as the Kaufman House. Kaufman was the name painted on the mailbox that tilted on its broken pole over the front walk. But the house had been deserted for years, ever since Greg and his friends could remember. So no, they have lived in this town for years and yet don't know anyone.
They don't even know any of the kids.
They don't know anyone. Okay. And people like to tell weird stories about the house. Ghost stories and wild tales about murders and ghastly things that happened there. Most likely none of them were true. Hey, I know what we can do for excitement, Michael said, staring up at the house bathed in the shadows.
Well, they're going to paint the house.
Now, yes, for excitement, they take on a charity project of restoring the Kaufman House to its former glory.
That would be cool. That would be nice.
Huh? What are you talking about? Greg asked warily. I'm sorry. Huh? What are you talking about? Greg asked warily. Let's go into the Kaufman House, Michael said, starting to make his way across the weed-choked lawn. Whoa, are you crazy? Greg called, hurrying to catch up to him. Let's go in, Michael said, his blue eyes catching the light of the late afternoon sun filtering down through the tall oak trees. We wanted an adventure. Something a little exciting, right? Come on, let's check it out.
Yeah, I hope they notify the owner about this.
Greg hesitated and stared up at the house. A cold chill ran down his back. Before he could reply, a dark form leaped up from the shadows of the tall weeds and attacked him.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. Okay, well, this is time for a little audience participation. If you were in this friend group with Greg, Michael, Sherry, and Doug, would you go into the abandoned house?
Or would you paint it like a responsible member of your community?
Or would you go get ice cream?
There are 2 viewers, so the second viewer can also chime in. Hint, hint.
Yes, we are on audience participation. I would go to the house.
Okay, so...
Threaten B, I'm interested. Would you you just go up to it, or you're going? Oh wait, I'm sorry. Okay, you are going in the house. Apologies. Wow, that's very brave of you. Well, let's
What
see
did you
what
think she said?
I would go to the house.
Oh.
Ding dong. Well, let's see
Oh
what
my
happens
God.
when you go in the house.
Wow.
I'm throwing a rock in the window. But you don't have to do that, Threaten Bee, because actually, if you remember from the reading,
You put the door somewhere.
if you if you remember from the reading, the windows were already broken, so you wouldn't have to break them more. But I guess if you wanted to, you could.
The low battery thing just came.
What can I say? Oh yes.
Oh yeah. So now it's my turn. I will go ahead and read chapter 2. Welcome two new viewers. Hopefully the ones that left us from before. Chapter 2. Greg toppled backward onto the ground.
Ouch!
He screamed. Then he realized that the others were laughing. It's that dumb Cocker Spaniel, Sherry cried. What were the voices you were doing for them? What was her voice?
I didn't really have one. I was kind of feeling out their personalities first.
Okay.
If you remember, she's wearing a lot of colorful clothing, though.
That's right.
So
I'll talk in my normal voice.
excellent.
He followed us. Go home, dog, go home. Bird shooed the dog away. The dog trotted to the curb, turned around.
Thank you very much.
Stared back at them. Love the... Oh. Thank you. Feeling embarrassed that the dog trotted to the curb, turned around, and stared back at them.
This is the dog?
I haven't had to read anything since school.
Okay, if we remember for the new viewers as well, we did end on a cliffhanger. Chapter 1 ended with our characters getting attacked by something. And now we're finding out it is just, in fact, a dog.
Yes, and I did think it was going to be the camera that was jumping out at them. The dog trotted to the curb, turned around, and stared back at them, its stubby tail wagging furiously. Feeling embarrassed that he'd become so frightened, Greg slowly pulled himself to his feet, expecting his friends to give him grief, but they were staring up at the Kaufman house thoughtfully. Yeah, Michael's right, Bird said, slapping Michael hard on the back so hard Michael winced and turned to Slug Bird. That's 2 animals. Let's see what it's like in there. No way, Greg said, hanging back. I mean, this place is kind of creepy, don't you think? So, Sherry challenged him, joining Michael and Bird, who repeated her question. So, in unison. So, I don't know, Greg replied.
I don't know that it's an interesting question that you bring up, Threaten Bee, actually. And I don't know that Greg is necessarily a scaredy cat so much as he is sort of rational.
That's true.
I'm not sure if you're aware, trespassing is illegal.
Greg is more human than all of us.
And if this were a BuzzFeed quiz, Greg would be the correct answer to get. Anything else would be bad.
That's true. Greg replied. He didn't like being the sensible one of the group.
Sensible one.
Wow, how prescient of you. Everyone always made fun of the sensible one. He'd rather be the wild and crazy one.
How does it feel? How does it feel? He's talking about you right now, Threaten Bee.
But somehow,
right now,
he always ended up sensible. I don't think we should go in there, he said, staring up at the neglected old house. Are you chicken? Bird asked. 2 animals again. Chicken, Michael joined in. Bird began to cluck loudly, tucking his hands into his armpits and flapping his arms. With his beady eyes and beaky nose, he looked just like a chicken. Greg didn't want to laugh, but he couldn't help it. Bird is always made him laugh. The clucking and flapping seemed to end the discussion. They were standing at
you want any ice?
Yeah, that would be great. At the front of the...
Any viewers want any ice? Here's a cube for you.
Greg didn't want to laugh, but he couldn't help it. Bird always made him laugh. The clucking and flapping seemed to end the discussion. They were standing at the foot of the broken concrete steps that led up to the screened porch. Bro, cool ice grabber. Thank you. We love it.
Thank you.
Look, the window next to the front door is broken, Sherry said. We can just reach in and open the door. This is cool, Michael said enthusiastically, holding the ice cube. Are we really doing this? Greg, being the sensible one, had to ask. I mean, what about Spidey? Spidey.
Who's Spidey, I wonder?
That is a great question.
Who do we think Spidey is?
Some
Some viewer
goosebumps.
participation.
Yes. Do we know who Spidey is? Fun fact, the kid in this movie, yeah, they don't have any weapons. That's true. And this is a concealed carry state, so they should have access to firearms. Spidey was a weird-looking man of 50 or 60.
Not a dog.
Not a dog.
Weird-looking man of 50 or 60.
Looking about town. He dressed entirely in black.
That is who I came dressed as today.
And prepped. Yes, Desiree cosplayed as Spidey, and I am R.L. Stein, a.k.a. Jack Black. Most likely, he looked just like a black spider, so the kids all called him Spidey. Interesting. Most likely, he was homeless or a drifter. No one really knew anything about him, where he'd come from, where he lived. But a lot of kids had seen him hanging around the Kaufman house in like a spider web.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mr. Stein again coming through.
Maybe Spidey doesn't like visitors, Greg warned, but Sherry was already reaching in through the broken window pane to unlock the front door. And after little
Sherry's
effort...
Sherry's got blood trickling down her arm.
Oh my God. She turned the brass knob and the heavy wooden door swung open. Okay, yes, Sherry is threatened B. One by one, they stepped into the front entryway, Greg reluctantly bringing up the rear. It was dark inside the house. Only narrow beams of sunlight managed to trickle down through the heavy trees in front, creating pale cricket circles of light on the worn brown carpet at their feet. The floorboards squeaked as Greg and his friends made their way past the living room, which was bare except for a couple of overturned grocery store cartons against one wall. R.L. Stein would rather live like that than go to therapy.
No, it's...
Go ahead.
No, it's interesting. It's interesting to bring that up, Threaten B, actually, because if you knew that Ouija boards actually let you contact demonic entities, and these children are just children, and they really don't need that sort of energy right now. So I don't know if you knew that, but it was a little insensitive, so I just wanted to address it. So, yeah, thanks for your understanding. Thanks.
Spidey's furniture, Greg wondered. That's not.
Okay, I'm sorry. This is the overturned shopping cart.
An overturned milk carton shopping cart. Yes, that's on fire. The living room carpet, as threadbare as the one in the entryway, had a dark oval stain in the center of it. Greg and Bird, stopping in the doorway, both noticed it at the same time. Think it's blood? Bird asked, his tiny eyes lighting up with excitement when he saw some corn. Greg felt a chill on the back of his neck. Probably ketchup, he replied. Bird laughed and slapped him hard on the back.
Oh, this is Spidey's bathroom.
The hallway?
Yeah.
Sherry and Michael were exploring the kitchen. They were staring at the dust-covered counter as Greg and Bird stepped up behind them. They saw immediately what had captured their attention. 2 fat gray mice were standing on the counter. Don't know about that. Staring back at Sherry and Michael. They're cute, Sherry said. They look just like cartoon mice. I am for that. I do like that.
I do like that as well. That's great.
The sound
that
of her
goes along
voice.
With our
that's right.
friend mouse that we brought along for today.
We do
for
have a
Say
cheesy
Cheese
mouse
and Die.
That we brought. Yeah, that's right. We do have some props. We have the camcorder, the cheese.
We haven't gotten to that yet, though.
Oh,
so
God.
It's a little bit of a spoiler.
Okay. Yeah.
There is a camera.
That's true. Okay. The sound of her voice made the 2 rodents scamper along the counter, around the sink, and out of sight. They're gross, Michael said. Shut the fuck up, Michael, making a disgusted face. I think they were rats, not mice. Rats have long tails. Mice don't, Greg told him.
Now, where's Bird? See, Bird would know
That's true.
by sight what kind of animal these are.
That's true. They were definitely rats, Bird muttered, pushing past them and into the hallway. He disappeared toward the front of the house. Jerry reached up and pulled open a cabinet over the counter. Empty. I guess Spidey never uses the kitchen, she said. Michael is a bitch. I also agree with that. Well, I didn't think he was a gourmet chef, Greg joked. He followed her into the long, narrow dining room, as bare and dusty as the other rooms. A low chandelier still hung from the ceiling, so brown with cake dust It was impossible to tell it was glass. What else would... Okay. Looks like a haunted house, Greg said softly. Boo, Sherry replied. No one responded to that. There's not much to see in here, Greg complained, following her back to the dark hallway. Unless you get a thrill from dust balls. Suddenly, a loud crack made him jump. Crack! Sherry laughed. Oh my god. Sherry laughed and squeezed his shoulder. What was that? He cried, unable to stifle his fear. Old houses do things like that, she said. They make noises for no reason at all. I think we should leave, Greg insisted. That's a TV show. Embarrassed again that he'd acted so frightened. I mean, it's boring in here. It's kind of exciting being somewhere we're not supposed to be, Sherry said, peeking into a dark, empty room. Probably a den or study at one time. I guess, Greg replied uncertainly. They bumped into Michael. Where's Bird? Greg asked. I think he went down to the basement. Michael replied, Huh? The basement? Michael pointed to an open door at the right of the hallway. The stairs are there. The three of them made their way to the top of the stairs. They peered down into the darkness. Bird? From somewhere deep in the basement, his voice floated up to them in a horrified scream. Help! It got me! Somebody please help! It's got me!
Wow. Another cliffhanger.
That's really scary.
I think it's time for another viewer participation while we grab our charger as well. Is that, would you...
Yeah, I'll go grab the charger.
Excellent. Sorry, forgot to plan ahead for this. If you were the children in this novel, would you go down into the basement to save your friend? Or, if you heard them scream for help, would you leave them? Another thought. Yes, good point.
Do you know where the outlet is? I'm never in this room. So I don't know
I would leave him. I probably also would choose to leave him. Game over. Yeah. Now, I think this would change a little bit. If I had a gun, I think if we had guns, maybe it would be a little better. We could go down there, especially if it's a dog, you know.
I think we could all learn something.
We could all learn something. And if it's a dog, if it's a homeless man, you know, I would just feel safer going down there like that.
God.
So, we'll continue on with Chapter 3. Choose your own adventure buddy. Excellent point. Excellent point. You should be running this. Well, now we've gotten extra scared.
I'm so sorry.
It's got me! It's got me!
Do you ever like this?
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's perfect.
Okay.
How's the lighting, everyone? Is that good? If I had weapons, I would put in minimal effort to save it. I would give up as soon as it became too much work. Okay, and are you thinking knife, or are you thinking sort of melee, like a wrench? Lead pipe? I myself was picturing my ninja stars.
Is the light
breadstick? Yes, that's perfect. Thank you.
I can't go behind it.
I prefer a distance weapon. Like my throwing stars, I agree. Okay, here we go. Chapter 3. At the sound of Bird's terrified cries, Greg pushed past Sherry and Michael, who stood frozen in open-mouthed horror. Practically flying down the steep stairway, Greg called out to his friend, I'm coming, Bird. What is it? Yeah, I agree. Very good. Good point. His heart pounding, Greg stopped at the bottom of the stairs, every muscle tight with fear. His eyes searched frantically through the smoky light pouring in from the basement windows up near the ceiling. Bird? There he was, sitting comfortably, calmly on an overturned metal trash can, his legs crossed, a broad smile on his bird-like face.
He caught a worm.
Gotcha, he said softly, and burst out laughing. Ha! What is it? What happened? Came the frightened voices of Sherry and Michael. They clambered down the stairs, coming to a stop beside Greg.
Yeah, Greg is known only as a human.
Not
the worst animal.
It's very true, very true. It took them only a few seconds to scope out the situation. Another dumb joke? Michael asked, his voice still trembling with fear.
That's good.
That's
I like
funny.
it.
That's funny. Hey, now I like that one. Okay. Bird, were you goofing on us again? Sherry asked, shaking her head.
Goosing on us.
Were you goosing on us? Sherry asked. Yes, thank you. Trademark the goosing hour. Enjoying his moment, Bird nodded with his peculiar half grin. You guys are too easy, he scoffed. But Doug, Sherry started. She only called him Doug when she was upset with him. Haven't you ever heard of the boy who cried wolf? What if something bad happens sometime and you really need help, and we think you're just goosing? What could happen? Bird replied smugly. He stood up and gestured around the basement. Look, it's brighter down here than upstairs. He was right.
He's got a point.
Sunlight from the backyard cascaded. I'm sorry, excuse me?
I was going to say there's a drawing in here. No, there's not. There's not a drawing in there. That's why I didn't finish the joke.
He was right. Sunlight from the backyard cascaded down the 4 long windows at ground level, near the ceiling of the basement. I still think we should get out of here, Greg insisted, his eyes moving quickly around the large, cluttered room.
We lost a viewer.
Behind Bird's overturned, except for our loyal 2.
That's true.
Behind Bird's overturned trash can stood an improvised table made out of a sheet of plywood, resting on 4 paint cans. A nearly flat mattress, dirty and stained, rested against the wall.
Oh, good. Spidey's other bathroom.
A faded wool blanket folded at the foot. At least he's staying warm. Pics. I agree. Next time we'll have some illustrations.
Greg, for once in your life.
Now, I am siding with Greg on this, I will say. Spidey must live down here, Michael exclaimed.
Okay.
Bird kicked his way through a pile of empty food boxes that had been tossed all over the floor. TV dinners, mostly. Hey, a hungry man dinner, he exclaimed. Where does Spidey heat these up? Maybe he eats them frozen, Sherry suggested. You know, like popsicles.
That's fucked up.
Yeah,
That's actually really fucked up.
These kids are gonna get canceled pretty soon. She made her way towards a towering oak wardrobe and pulled open the doors. Wow, this is excellent, she declared. Yeah, what hungry man do you think it is? Yes, so we got Salisbury steak, mashed potatoes.
He's literally a homeless guy who doesn't have a microwave.
I personally, when I was younger, did like the lasagna meals, but they would gross me out sometimes.
Oh, the frozen dinners? Yeah.
Mm.
I did eat the hungry man meals.
Yeah.
I like the burnt little brownie chunk that was in the
little mac and cheese that was kind of baked into it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Look, she pulled out a ratty-looking fur coat and wrapped it around her shoulders. Kid Cuisine agreed, yes. Excellent, she repeated, twirling in the old coat. From across the room, Greg could see that the wardrobe was stuffed with old clothing. Michael and Bird hurried to join Sherry and began pulling out strange-looking pairs of bell-bottom pants, yellow dress shirts with pleats down the front, tie-dyed neckties that were about a foot wide, and bright-colored scarves and bandanas. One time, my grandma put a meal in the microwave for Okay, and
One time, my dad was making egg rolls on a Sunday morning at like 8 a.m. Just like a bunch of egg rolls, and the little like microwave oven caught on fire, and he threw it into the yard. Boiling instructions. Wait a minute, you can boil a hot dog?
Yeah.
Let me go back and read these. I once microwaved a hot dog for 7 minutes. I read the boiling instructions for hours.
Oh, that's funny.
That's so bad.
Yeah. Surprise guy went to a home shortly after that. Okay. Hey guys, Greg warned. Don't you think maybe these belong to somebody?
True.
Bird spun around, a fuzzy red boa wrapped around his neck and shoulders. Yeah, these are Spidey's dress-up clothes, he cracked. Check out this bad hat, Sherry said, turning around to show off the bright purple wide-brimmed hat she had put on. Neat, Michael said, examining a long blue cape. This stuff must be at least 25 years old.
At least.
It's awesome. How could someone just leave it here? Maybe they're coming back for it, Greg suggested. As his friends explored the contents of the wardrobe, Greg wandered to the other end of the large basement. A furnace occupied the far wall, its ducts covered in thick cobwebs. Partially hidden by the furnace ducts, Greg could see stairs, probably leading to an outside exit. Yes, we have some comments. Bell bottoms, they're coming back. Very true. Little did they know.
Right. If TikTok was around back then?
Yeah, thrift haul. Wooden shelves lined the adjoining wall, cluttered with old paint cans, rags, newspapers, and rusty tools. Whoever lived here must have been a real handyman, Greg thought, examining a wooden work table in front of the shelves.
Wow, this person has tools in their house. They must be a mechanic.
A metal vise was clamped to the edge of the work table. Greg turned the handle, expecting the jaws of the vise to open. Insert Michael J. That's funny.
Yeah.
To open. But to his surprise, as he turned the vise handle, a door just above the work table popped open.
Whoa.
Greg pulled the door all the way open, revealing a hidden cabinet shelf. Resting on the shelf was a camera.
That's actually scary.
Wow.
That's actually really scary.
It's kind of fucked up a little
That's
bit.
Actually really fucked up.
Yeah.
That's scary.
So was the camera on? So it is a cliffhanger. Actually, we don't know if it was on.
It doesn't say.
We know that it was in the secret panel, or was it a disposable one? It's actually if you have seen the Goosebumps TV series, you'll notice that it does look like a giant spaceship about this big, and it is kind of like a Polaroid camera.
And Ryan Gosling from Speed plays the little boy in
the TV series.
In the TV series in this episode, he plays Greg.
If you're watching boy. Ryan Gosling, good to have you.
Mm-hmm.
iPhone negative. Yeah, very true.
Yes.
All right. Chapter 4.
Chapter 4. For a long moment, Greg just stared at the camera. Something told him the camera was hidden away for a reason.
That's a good point.
Something told him he shouldn't touch it. Why would... Okay. He should close the secret door and walk away, but he couldn't resist it. He reached onto the hidden shelf and took the camera in his hands. Oh, it pulled out easily. Then to Greg's surprise, the door instantly snapped shut with a loud bang.
That was for my viewer out there.
Wow, that's for the viewer. Weird, he thought, turning the camera in his hands. What a strange place to leave a camera. Yeah, on a shelf. Why would someone put it here? If it were valuable enough to hide in a secret cabinet, why didn't he take it with him? Greg eagerly examined the camera. It was large and surprisingly heavy, with a long lens. Perhaps it's a telephoto lens, he thought. I don't know. Greg was very interested in cameras.
Greg's a film major.
Yes. He had an inexpensive automatic camera, which took okay snapshots, but he was saving his allowance in hopes of buying a really good camera with a lot of lenses.
Yeah, like the Nissan 1400 DCLR.
Yeah.
That's probably
those are good cameras.
Something like that.
Something like nice Canon. He loved looking at camera magazines, studying the different models, picking out the ones he wanted to buy. My ex was sometimes he daydreamed.
Everyone's ex was a film major, threatened B. And they all were the worst.
Yeah. Sometimes he daydreamed about traveling around the world, going to amazing places, mountaintops, and hidden jungle rivers. He'd take photos of everything he saw and became a famous photographer. His camera at home was just too crummy. That's why all his pictures came out too dark or too light. His equipment was bad. It's not that he doesn't have artistic talent. And everyone in them had glowing red dots in their eyes. Greg wondered if this camera was any good. Raising the viewfinder to his eye, he sighted around the room. He came to a stop on Michael, who's wearing 2 bright yellow feather boas and a white Stetson hat and had climbed to the top of the steps to pose.
We're going to need another fit check, so if you could repeat it back for me, I need to visualize.
So picture this. So picture Michael. I forget which kid he was. He's wearing 2 bright yellow feather boas. Do we think they're like on like a X shape on his chest?
I was thinking maybe one kind of wrapped around the shoulders and one around his neck.
Okay.
Kind of.
Okay, that's probably what he looks like. And a white Stetson hat. It's like that, but white. Okay. And he climbed to the top of the steps to pose. Wait, hold it, Greg cried, moving closer, raising the camera to his eye. Let me take your picture, Michael. Where'd you find that? Bird asked. Wouldn't you like to know? Does that thing have film in it? Michael demanded. I don't know, Greg said. Let's see. Leaning against the railing, Michael struck what he considered a sophisticated pose. Greg pointed the camera.
Really quick, what do we think this sophisticated pose was?
I'm going to say a dab. I'm going to say he's dabbing at the top of the stairs.
I was thinking maybe a little tip of the hat. Remember when he was the moral?
Greg is pretty holier than thou for all this bullshit that he's pulling in front of Michael and Bird and Sherry. So fucked up.
Well, this is actually, I think, Mr. Stein's first dabble into the effects of peer pressure and how that can actually be really harmful to a child. And we see here how morals do deteriorate over time.
Wow. He is. Greg pointed, Greg pointed the camera up and focused carefully. It took a short while for his finger to locate the shutter button. Okay, ready? Say cheese. Cheddar, Michael said. That's funny. What were you going to say?
Nothing. I
Oh,
had nothing.
Grinning down at Greg as he held his pose against the railing. Very funny.
Shutter. Hey, this guy.
Oh, that's true. That would be scary if it was written like that, if they wrote it right. Very funny. Michael's a riot, Bird said sarcastically. Greg centered Michael in the viewfinder frame, then pressed the shutter button. The camera clicked and flashed. Then it made an electronic whirring sound. A slot pulled open on the bottom, and a cardboard square slid out. Hey, it's one of those automatic developing cameras, Greg exclaimed. He pulled the square of cardboard out and examined it. Look, the picture is starting to envelope. Let me see, Michael called down, leaning on the railing. But before he could start down the stairs, everyone heard a loud crunching sound. They all looked up to the source of the sound and saw the railing break away, and Michael go sailing over the edge. No! Michael screamed as he toppled to the floor, arms outstretched, the feather boas flying behind him like animal trails. He turned in the air, then hit, thank you, Threatenby, then hit the concrete hard on his back, his eyes frozen wide in astonishment and fright. He bounced once, then cried out again, my ankle! Ow! My ankle! That's how it's punctuated. He grabbed at the injured ankle, then quickly let go with a loud gasp. It hurt too much to touch it. Oh, my ankle! Still holding the camera in the photo, Greg rushed to Michael. He bounced once. Sherry and Bird did the same. We'll go get help, Sherry told Michael, who was still on his bones, groaning in pain. But then they heard the ceiling creak. Footsteps above them. Someone was in the house. Someone was approaching the basement stairs. They were going to be caught. Very scary. His ankle did a little twist.
That is scary.
That's actually...
That is Mr. Stein. Mr. Stein, hats off to you.
Mm-hmm. That's actually truly
That's very
terrifying.
scary.
The
They
whole
can't run
moment.
away.
Yeah.
So
it's like David Gruber.
Would you run away and leave your friend, or would you go for help?
That's true.
Yeah, they're like, gee, I hope my camera's still in my secret hiding spot.
Yeah, my vintage camera.
My vintage camera.
I hope some dumb kid isn't
In my house breaking his ankle.
in my house breaking his ankle, then he's gonna sue me.
Chapter 5.
Good.
I probably would have. I am the friend who's getting hurt. Most likely I would accept it.
Boy and all. That's a good idea.
Okay. The footsteps overhead grew louder. The four friends exchanged frightened glances. We've got to get out of here, Sherry whispered. The ceiling creaked. You can't leave me here, Michael protested. He pulled himself to a sitting position. Quick, stand up, Bird instructed. Michael struggled to his feet. I can't stand on this foot. His face revealed his panic. We'll help you, Sherry said, turning her eyes to Bird. I'll take one arm, you take the other. Bird obediently moved forward and pulled Michael's arm around his shoulder. Sherry is a Marine with over 100 confirmed kills, so she will get Michael out of this situation.
She will kill Michael
She
instantly.
will kill Michael if they need to get out of here. Okay, let's move, Sherry whispered.
Michael is an obstacle. Sorry.
Supporting Michael from the other side, But how do we get out? Bird asked breathlessly. The footsteps grew louder. The ceiling creaked under their weight. We can't go up the stairs. We can't go up the stairs, Michael whispered, leaning on Sherry and Bird. There's another stairway behind the furnace, Greg told them, pointing.
What?
It leads out, Michael asked, wincing from his ankle pain. Well, yeah. I can't blame them.
They're not going to survive their first night of college.
They are only 6 years old.
At Panther Fest? No way they'd survive that.
At Kesha at Panther Fest? No way. They're not making it out of that.
They'd be so embarrassing.
Oh my god. Wow. That's pretty funny. Okay. Probably. Greg, lead the way. Greg led the way. Apologies. Just pray the door isn't padlocked or something. We're praying! We're praying! Bird declared.
That's good. Important lesson.
Important lesson. Mm-hmm. We're out of here, Sherry said, groaning under the weight of Michael's arm. Leaning heavily against Sherry and Bird, Michael hobbled after Greg, and they made their way to the stairs behind the furnace. The stairs, they saw, led to a wooden double doors up on ground level. I don't see a padlock, Greg said warily. Please, doors, be open.
Wow, I hope the door's open.
Hi, who's down there? An angry man's voice called from behind them.
That's true. They should leave Michael behind.
Oh,
just like The Office did.
It's Spidey, Michael stammered.
Oh shit, it's Spidey?
Hurry, Sherry urged, giving Greg a frightened push. Come on! Greg set the camera down on the top step. Then he reached up and grabbed the handles of the double doors. Who's down there? Spidey sounded closer, angrier. The doors could be locked from the outside, Greg said, hesitating. Silly move on Greg's part. I think this is the first time I've really sided against Greg.
What, did he lock the door?
The doors could be locked from the outside, Greg whispered, hesitating. I get it. Just push them, man, Bird pleaded. Greg took a deep breath and pushed with all his strength. The doors didn't budge.
Greg is not a good leader. Not helpful.
Not helpful at all.
He's coming. Yeah. Spidey's gonna come, Bird yelled. I'm sorry.
We're trapped, he told them. And now we arrive at our 6th and final chapter for the evening.
Wow. Yeah, that's right. This is the last chapter for tonight, and then we will resume next week.
Ish.
You guys decided time. Our 3 loyal viewers.
Our 3 loyal viewers, yes.
Now what? Michael whined. Oh. Now what? Michael whined. Try again, Bird urged Greg. Maybe they're just stuck. He slid out from under Michael's arm. Here, I'll help you. Greg moved over to give Bird room to step up beside him. Ready? He asked. 1, 2, 3. Push! At the same time.
That sounded a little wrong. I'm not gonna lie.
Wow. Both boys pushed against the heavy wooden doors with all their might, and the door swung open. Okay, now we're out of here, Sherry declared happily. That is how it's written. Picking up the camera, Greg led the way out. The backyard, he saw, was as weed-choked and overgrown as the front. An enormous limb had fallen off of an old oak tree, probably during a storm, and was lying half in the tree, half on the ground. Somehow, Bird and Sherry managed to drag Michael up the steps and onto the grass. Can you walk? Try it, Bird said, still leaning against the two of them. Michael reluctantly pushed his foot down on the ground. He lifted it, then pushed. Greg really likes this camera. It's a really nice one.
It's a really nice one.
It's really big. It's huge.
It's the biggest camera you'd ever seen. Leave Michael and run. Well, at this point, I feel like the weeds are tall enough that if they left him on the ground, he wouldn't be noticed, but... I guess I didn't.
He could survive in the weed for days.
At least. Yeah, there's probably a lot of water collected on the thistles. That's
true. You eat thistle. Hey, it feels a little better, he said. Surprised. That one's for the audience. Then let's go, Bird said. They ran to the overgrown hedge that edged along the side of the yard. Thank you, RL. Michael on his own now, stepping gingerly on the bad ankle, doing his best to keep up. Then staying in the shadow of the house to the front. Then staying in the shadow of the hedge, they made their way around the house to the front. All right, Bird cried happily as they reached the street. We made it. Gasping for breath, Greg stopped at the curb and turned back toward the house. Look! He cried, pointing up to the living room window. Interesting that they know that is the living room window. A dark figure.
That's probably the one that had the pea stain rug.
Stood in the window, hands pressed against the glass. It's Spidey, Sherry said. He's just staring at us. Michael cried. Weird, Greg said. Let's go. Good idea, Greg. They didn't stop till they got to Michael's house and sprawling redwood ranch-style house behind a shady front lawn.
Threatened B says, Greg is out of breath, hard working. It's the adrenaline.
Yeah. How's the ankle, Greg asked. It's loosened up a lot. It doesn't even hurt that much. That seems maybe worse, Michael said. Man, you could have been killed, Bird declared, wiping sweat off his forehead with the sleeve of his t-shirt. Lucky thing you got
of his t-shirt.
All the...
Off his forehead with his t-shirt. Oh, I guess, yeah, he's kind of doing a little, like,
I guess that
motion.
Makes sense.
I guess.
He was Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
The ankle was a non-issue.
Yeah. This man said, I'd like to be carried out, please.
Yeah, he wants to be fucking carried. Luckily, you've got all this extra padding, Bird teased. Shut up, Michael muttered. Well, you guys wanted adventure, Sherry said, leaning back against the trunk of a tree. That guy Spidey is definitely weird, Bird said, shaking his head. You see the way he was staring at us? Michael asked. All dressed in black and everything. He looked like some kind of zombie or something. That's true. They could have used the boas as a sort of sling to make sure that it had the proper elevation.
Yeah.
He saw us, Greg said softly.
Thank you, Layla.
Suddenly, Layla's here. Layla's the third viewer.
Excellent.
Wow, Layla. Happy birthday. What for? Michael demanded. It's his house, isn't it? He's just sleeping there. We could call the police on him. Whoa, Michael! That's fucked up. But if he's really crazy or something, there's no telling what he might do, Greg replied thoughtfully. He's not going to do anything, Sherry said quietly. Spidey doesn't want trouble. He just wants to be left alone. Yeah. Michael agreed quickly. He didn't want us messing around with his stuff. That's why he yelled like that and came after us. Shit. Sorry, I'm holding two things. Michael was leaning over, rubbing his ankle. Hey, where's my picture? He demanded, straightening up and turning to Greg. Huh? You know, the picture you snapped with the camera? Oh, right. Greg suddenly realized he saw the camera grip tightly in his hand. He set it down carefully on the grass and reached into his back pocket. I put it in here when we started to run, he explained. Well, did it come out? Michael demanded. The three of them huddled around Greg to get a view of the snapshot. Whoa, hold on a minute, Greg cried, staring hard at the small square photo. Something's wrong. What's going on here? On is italicized, and that's the end of the chapter.
Well, thank you all for joining us this week.
Little cheese break.
Well, yeah, little cheese break.
Good reference to the mice. Yes.
Thank you.
An Easter egg for all the mice lovers out there.
Yes.
Okay, well, we had fun doing this. We now have Twitch installed on my work laptop.
Yes, so please feel free to like, rate, and subscribe to my Instagram.
Do this again if you guys want to.
Yes, we'll be doing this again next week whenever we have our mutual day off. Please let us know if you have any suggestions for what we can do next time.
Yeah, any faster, slower, more accents.
You can't do that on Twitch. Well, that's okay.
You can't do what?
Like, comment, subscribe to my Instagram on Twitch. But it's fine. And yeah, this will be a reoccurring series. Thank you for being here from Ground Zero. And when we do hit 1 million followers, you'll know that you were among
the first
top 5.
four.
The first four.
First four.
We're grateful for every one of you.
We know 3 of you, and there's a secret one.
There is a secret one.
We love you. Thank you so much for being on here. We had a lot of fun.
All right. Well, cheers to all, and to all a good cheers.
You were our J1.
You were been our day one. Good night, all.
Good night. End stream. Don't ask again.